Welcome back to Turf Talk, live at Churchill Downs, Clocker Edition. Alongside Gary Young, I'm Ed DeRosa, back at Churchill for the rest of the week. Gary, you got to see a few horses for the first time today, and we'll lead with the one you were the most impressed with, Irish War Cry.
Irish War Cry is, if you didn't know and they just showed you this horse and they said, what distance horse does this horse look like? You'd say, that's what a 1.25 mile horse looks like. He galloped very nicely. He was moving freely. He flipped his head a couple of times, not bad. I mean, considering it was his first day on Churchill Downs and there was quite a few people out there, not as many as there'll be Saturday afternoon, but there was quite a few people out there. I thought he handled everything well. And, you know, he's on most people's top 3 for the race, I would think, and he's definitely on mine.
He's my number 2, and obviously the mystery of the Fountain of Youth could deepen if he were to run well in the Derby. We'll always wonder what happened that day, and even Graham doesn't know, it seems.
If that race never took place, he would be, what, a 3-to-1 favorite for this race?
Oh, absolutely, and I've said that before. Yeah. And to me, though, the race was so bad that you can almost say it didn't take place. I mean, you can't, but it was just so bad.
There's 3 major horses, or horses that look like they were going to be like major contenders in the Kentucky Derby this year, and still might be, that had almost too bad to believe performances. His race was, Classic Empire's Holy Bull was, and Taprit's Bluegrass. I mean, those races for horses that seemed like they were well on their way to be on many people's top 3 lists, those races are, it's a big thing. I mean, it's easy for handicappers and trainers to say, you know, just put a line through that race, but when you're putting your money up, you know, it's not that easy to put a line through that race.
Yeah, you balance it with the odds and throw in Gunnevera and McCracken's third place efforts as favorites, and a lot of distilling to do when it comes to that for sure. Also saw Thunder Snow, winner of the U.A.E. Derby, one of the more thrilling prep races, a nose win over Epicaris. What'd you think of him off the plane from well, I don't know if he was in Dubai or in England off the plane, but what'd you think of him?
He looked good. This was his first day where he was allowed to train with the rest of them, and no knocks on him whatsoever. No knocks on him whatsoever. I mean, it's well documented that he's up against it as far as a record of horses trying to do that, but I could not knock what I saw from this horse this morning.
Yeah, and I'm on the record as being against that record as well. I think it's a lot to ask to ship from Dubai and then run in 6 weeks. It's not like pointing for the Stephen Foster or the Pacific Classic. What's your take on that in general? Have you found that it is too difficult, or you're just waiting for the right horse?
It seems like it's a tall mountain to climb. I mean, Lanny came here last year and he didn't run bad, but he will be known more for his pre-race and training hours antics than he will for his actual performance. You know, Sheikh Mohammed obviously has a very big arsenal of quality horses, but thus far it's proven to be an elusive race for him. Let's just put it that way, and you know, we'll see. We'll see.
Well, we couldn't go through a work show without discussing Always Dreaming, the hottest topic perhaps the last week. Looked great in his work, but has had some issues with the gallops and jogs. He's in that special equipment, new exercise rider. How was he today?
This was his best day since he started having his problems or whatever issues, whatever you want to call it. He came out in draw reins again. I seemed a little bit more accustomed to him or comfortable in him than he did in yesterday's training session. Galloped around there pretty relaxed, had the head down, which the draw reins make you do, and he got a little bit going around the clubhouse turn at the end of his gallop. He got a little bit keyed up, but it was much better than the previous 2 days. Todd says he's going to train him in the draw reins the rest of the week, which is very understandable, but that means that he will enter the Kentucky Derby as a huge wild card, and that, I mean, there's not one person that can say they actually know how he's going to react when the draw reins are taken off and he has normal equipment on there.
Right.
You can guess, but nobody knows how this horse is going to act.
Yeah, and is one of the favorites, even more accentuated since a lot of money will be on him. How he acts tomorrow is the post draw, so obviously a lot at stake, especially for whoever happens to draw the one hole. But a lot of different variables in play, 1, 2, 19, 20. Where would you say Always Dreaming would be best suited based on what you've seen of his mind?
Oh, he would want to either be on the far outside or be one of the last ones loaded when they do the staggered start. I mean, he would want to be like post 10 or post 20. Right. I would think it'd be that way. He would be spending as little time as possible in the gate. He is, from what I understand, supposed to school in the gate tomorrow morning at 8:45. So, you know, it'll be interesting to see how he does with that and how he does after he leaves the starting gate. But I'm sure that that the Pletcher camp Todd would want this horse to spend as little time actually standing in the starting gate the day of the Derby as possible.
All right, yeah, that's 9, 10, 19, and 20 for those keeping score at home. Anyone else you're sort of think the draw means more for than another one?
You know, I mean, all three favorites, as we've touched on earlier in the week, all three favorites have been known to be a little bit
idiosyncratic?
Yes, yes, thank you. So, you know, I'm sure Classic Empire and Warcry, their trainers have stressed many times before how important it is to keep them happy and relaxed. I'm sure they're hoping for the same way, for the same type of thing. You know, you just feel bad. I mean, for whoever gets the 1-2 hole. I mean, it's a pretty big obstacle to overcome, but you know, somebody's going to get it.
Yeah.
You kind of this is so wide open this year's Derby. You just know that in the post position draw, there's probably going to be a major contender let out with a huge moan when they hear their post position drawn. I mean.
I mean, you have the 4 obvious favorites, and then, you know, Hence has drawn some attention. Practical Joke has his backers, Gunnevera. So, yeah, 35% of the field. One of them almost has to be in a bad spot.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was amazing the year that Big Brown actually chose the 20 hole. That was kind of amazing.
That was a mic drop for Dutrow, for sure.
Yeah. Like I'll put him out here just to show how good he is.
And he did.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, not sure who could emulate that this year. So it'll be interesting to watch the post draw tomorrow. And we'll be back tomorrow to discuss, follow up on all these conversations. Maybe touch on a few other horses that we haven't gotten to today. But I'll get you out of here on this. I know you said Lockdown did something for the Oaks, but it sounds like you already have your pick regardless of what the others are doing.
You know, Lockdown, the way Billy blew her out, he blew her out in 35, put her outside of another horse and let her rip by Billy Mott's standards. You got the idea that they were going to put a little zip into her for the race. I saw Paradise Woods this morning gallop, and I will not be betting against her. I mean, post position, I don't care. I will not be betting against Paradise Woods.
All right, well, we could be in for a treat later in the year when Unique Bella comes back, but for this Friday, it's her, and I'm with you on that. But we'll be back tomorrow to talk more Derby. Thanks, as always, for joining us. It's been Turf Talk.